up, y'all? This is Neena Perez, and this is Straight Talk, no sugar added. Thank you so much for being here. You know, this show is created to discuss life topics, to grow, challenge, and transform your thinking. And today I have Lindsay Hanson here, and she is an online business coach, a freelance digital marketer, and the host of, listen to this title, guys, Quit Your Job, Sis. All right? Quit your job. All right? She helps dozens of women to leave their unfulfilling corporate jobs and turn their passions into authentic, impactful online businesses. I love it. I love that title. I got to listen to your podcast. How are you, Lindsay? Welcome.
I am amazing, Neena. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm really happy you're here. Okay, so you have a couple of things I'm already falling in love with you about. You're a
Mhm.
podcaster, you're a woman, and you love
Yep.
to help women like really transform and like move forward. So all of that is my game and I love it. So tell us a little bit about Lindsay first, and then we're gonna get into all of it.
Yeah. Gosh, where do I begin? I think the long story short of my journey is I quit my accounting job back in 2018 to start an online fitness coaching business.
Oh.
So it was quite the transition. And obviously, that business has now evolved into helping other women to make that same kind of leap that I did
Mhm.
from a corporate job, a 9 to 5, or whatever job they're in right now that is not fulfilling for them, and really make that leap into entrepreneurship and freelancing and having the freedom that they want, the freedom that comes along with that of being able to set your own schedule and work from anywhere, but also do work that you really find fulfilling, that you're making an impact in the world, and really kind of feel like you're stepping into whatever your purpose is.
Did because you said you left in 2018. Did this shutdown of the world help you like rethink about your business or grow your business, because now everybody was online, right? That kind of seemed like an opportunity. How'd you feel about that?
Yeah, that's a good question. And at the time where everything shut down, I was kind of in a transition myself because I no longer wanted to be doing fitness coaching. So I had stopped doing that at that point, and I had transitioned more into life coaching and really helping women who were
Mhm.
feeling stuck in their job. As well as, women who wanted to start their own online business and wanted some guidance to do that. And so I think it sort of naturally like I don't feel like the shutdown of the world really impacted my business positively or negatively. I think
Okay.
maybe positively because there
Mhm.
might have been more people who were like reevaluating their career
Mhm.
choices and
Mhm.
um fig you know figuring that, like, well, everything is digital now, so now's the time to really start this online business thing or get my side hustle going because I'm at home and I have more time because
Mhm.
I'm not commuting to work. But then on the other hand, there were a lot of people who were scared to make a change, and they just felt like, well, I don't love what I'm doing, but I'm grateful to have a job right now, and I don't want to like make any drastic moves, which
Mhm.
I also understand. So I think it just depends on where you were at that point. But I definitely had a lot of clients who were like, you know what, now's the time. Like, this has really forced me to take a look at my life and what do I really want to be doing every day. And they also had more free time because they didn't have to travel to go to work.
Right.
And so they
Right.
took that time and chose to use it to start their side hustle or get their online business started, which I think is incredible.
It is incredible, and it's a beautiful thing to watch all of these people like really transitioning into that space, right?
Yeah.
What happened in your career though? What was it that made you like just look at it and say this does not fulfill me, right? Because there's
Hmm.
some, I talk to a lot of like chief executive officers and stuff like that, and it's not like they hate their job, right? But there's
Yeah.
something there that pulls them. So what was that for you? What was that catalyst or that moment for you?
I really just didn't find the work that I was doing to be fulfilling. I was an
Mhm.
accountant and I was working at a big public accounting firm doing taxes. And I knew that even if I moved to something else within accounting, like there's a lot of other things I could have done with my degree. I just knew that I wasn't going to enjoy it, no matter like what the actual work was. I would. It was just I knew accounting was not for me.
Mhm.
And that's not to say it's not for everyone. There are some
Right.
people out there who love it, and that is amazing. We need a lot of accountants in the world. I just am not one of them. And
Right.
so really it was just this feeling of like looking at, okay, if I'm doing this for the next 40 years of my life, am I going to enjoy that? Am I
Mhm.
going to feel
Mhm.
fulfilled by it? Am I going to be happy? Or am I going to look back when I'm 65 and be like, what did I just spend my life doing? You know, and that's really what it was for me is I felt like there was so much more to life than just like clocking in and out of your 9 to 5. And like some people can do that and it works and they're like, listen, I'm not like super passionate about accounting, but like it pays the bills. I
Mhm.
clock in, I clock out, and then I have hobbies outside of work, and that's great. I just really felt like I needed to be doing something that I was passionate about, and I felt like there was something. I felt like like somehow got on this path that I never actually wanted to be on, and then
Right.
it was just like, okay, wait, something's wrong. I need to get back home to like where my intuition is telling me that I need to be,
Mhm.
and I just know that this is not it.
You know what the cool thing about that is that you then transitioned into being the fitness coach, right?
Yeah, that was
And then
yeah.
retransitioned again. And I think that
Yeah.
that's really important for people to hear because I
Mhm.
want people to understand that it's not, sometimes it's not just a one and done. You know,
Yeah.
you have to try a few things before you realize where you're landing. And this might not even be the end of it. It might be something that shifts
Mhm.
later. I mean, I'm going to be 50 this year. So I've had long, very successful careers. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like 10 years in this one, 15 years in this one, so it's been wonderful, but you shift, you change,
Mhm.
grow, you develop and you move, so what was that what was that moment for you like? Because now you're leaving your job and you're going to get into fitness coaching, right? But I don't, is that when you started your podcasting, or was that totally a
No.
different thing?
No, so about a year into my business was when I kind of made that transition, like I said, from fitness coaching to life coaching. I was really feeling called to go deeper with my clients.
Mhm.
And I just knew it was almost like I started to feel about fitness coaching the way that I felt in my 9 to 5 job. And I was like, okay, this is
Yeah,
not good.
yeah.
And it was a scary moment because I
Mhm.
was like, well, I just quit my job to do this, right? And now what I've learned is that I'm just not meant to do one thing for 40 years. Like I just I can't. And that's okay. And I think a lot of us are like that, right?
Yeah.
But we're put in this box of like you pick one thing and that's what you do for your whole career.
Mhm.
And I just think so many of us don't fit in that box and then we think there's something wrong with us.
Mhm.
So for any of you listening who don't fit in that box, it is okay. There's nothing wrong with you. But yeah, so I that was kind of in my transition from fitness coaching to life coaching was when I started my podcast. And really it started as just a way to share my story and kind of document my journey and
Mhm.
also share, the tips that I had for others who were feeling stuck in their job and kind of walking through like what were the fears and the doubts that I had and how did I overcome those and to get to where I am now.
Yeah. So are you pretty happy with your journey so far? Like, were you able to take things out of each experience to help you with your business now?
Mm, yeah, absolutely. I always say like you learn new things with each evolution, and I
Mhm.
feel like my evolutions happen fairly quickly. I mean, I'm about 3.5 years into my business, and I've already held many different titles.
Yeah.
And so, but every single time, I learned so much about, especially social media marketing when I was doing fitness coaching, because when I started that all I was using was my Instagram account. I didn't even
Right.
have a website or anything. So I had to learn how do I build a business and get clients online with just an Instagram account, right? Which
Right.
eventually evolved into Facebook groups and TikTok and LinkedIn and all the platforms I'm on now. So I learned so much about marketing by doing that. And I was able to translate those skills into life coaching and kind of collapse time and be able to get that business going faster, right?
Mhm.
And it's faster and easier with every iteration, but I'm learning so much. I mean, even just from starting my podcast, like I had to teach myself how to edit a podcast
Mhm.
and how to
Mhm.
put one together and how to do all of that, which is now something that I'm able to help other entrepreneurs with or help my clients with if they want to start a podcast of their own. And I think you mentioned this in my intro. I also am a social media manager. So that is because I learned those skills of social media
Right.
marketing from building my business. And
Right.
then about 2 years in, I was like, wait, I can help other people do this, not just through coaching, but I can like help them actually create their marketing strategy and create their content and schedule it out and run their campaigns and all of those things. Right. So I've learned so much, and it helps me not only growing my own business, but also in the skills that I now have that I can offer to other business owners. And so it's been a journey and it's been so much fun. And I love learning about business and marketing and podcasting. And I'm just like soaking up everything that I'm learning every single day. And the other thing that I really love is all of my clients are doing such different things
Mhm.
that it's so much fun to like kind of get my hands in all these different industries. And even just from the industries my clients are in, I'm learning about these like industries that I didn't even know were a thing, and services that I didn't even know people needed or wanted. And so it's definitely been a really cool learning experience for sure.
Well, that sounds good, and it sounds like up your alley too, right? Because like you
Hmm.
said, like, you don't wanna be stuck in one thing for 40 years,
Yeah.
right? So this, if anything, social media and all that is going to constantly evolve, so you're gonna have
Hmm.
to constantly be learning everything that goes into there's so much that goes into social media, right? So I did the same
Yeah.
thing, I learned a lot of it, then I just started hiring and outsourcing it because it does
Hmm.
become a lot, especially as you start to
Mhm.
increase all of your clients, and then you're like, "Oh my gosh, I gotta post for like 15,000 people. This is getting to be too much," right? Then you build
Yeah.
out your team. Now you really have a business, right? Like a
Yeah.
whole team that you got to deal with, which is fine. But like I love that you did that, and I love that you are not afraid to try all these different things. I think
Mhm.
that, and I don't know if you're seeing this with your clients, but one of the things I'm seeing with mine is that they feel like they can't do all of those things because it's wrong to do all of those things. Like they almost get stuck,
Yeah. Yeah.
like it's too many things. It's too
Mhm.
many things, right? And so then we try to work that out. Like, what does that mean? Why can't you, be the motivational speaker you want to be and sell your jewelry? Like,
Yeah.
how do we
Yeah.
make those talk to each other, right? Do you find that as well? Like they're feeling almost stuck or like overwhelmed?
Mhm. Yeah, that's definitely come up for a lot of my clients, if not all of them, because I think most of my clients are also multi-passionate
Yeah.
people like I am, right? And I think sometimes there's space to connect those things, right? Like
Mhm.
we think they're not related, but they actually are.
Mhm.
Like I could be telling myself, well, business coaching and social media management are completely two different things, but like they really are connected because I'm still helping business owners to launch and grow their business online. I'm just doing it in different ways
Right.
with the different services I offer, right? So sometimes it's a matter of like just kind of shifting that perspective so that they can feel like it's all under one cohesive brand.
Right.
But sometimes I think, there are people who own multiple businesses that are doing completely different things.
Yeah.
And that's also fine.
And it's also
So I think it's just a matter of like what do you want? Do you want to have one brand that's kind of just based on you and your passions? Um and like that's definitely something that I want, but I think sometimes, it makes sense to separate them and like have one business that's maybe consulting and another one that is selling some type of product. But I think it just depends on, the situation and the businesses and the industries that you're in.
so talk to me a little bit about how is it that you walk your clients through your program? Like, I'm assuming that you do like a call to like get to know that person
Mhm.
first and then onboard them or whatever. So what does that all look like? What does your program look like?
Yeah, and is this you're referring to my coaching program, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, yeah.
20 the coaching program.
Have many different things. Yeah, so for coaching, they fill out an application on my website and then we get on a call just to go over like what is it that they're struggling with. So some people come to me, they're stuck in their job, they have no idea what they want to do instead and they're just feeling completely lost. A lot of the a lot of my clients know that they want to work for themselves,
Right.
so they just either don't know what that is, or most of the time, we do know what it is. We're just telling ourselves we don't know what it is because
Yeah.
we're scared to do the thing that we really want to do. So usually those first few calls are just kind of getting down to what is it that you want to do? Like
Hmm.
whether that's owning your own business, if it is, what services or products do you want to offer, clarifying that, getting really clear on what is your niche, who is your ideal client, who do you want to speak to and draw in with your content. And then from there, the first thing I always have my clients do is to just get on social media and start posting. I think our first inclination is, oh, I need a website. But I think, like I said, I didn't even have a website the whole first year and a half of my business. So I think it's something we use to distract ourselves. It's not
Yeah. Yeah.
actually going to bring in clients right away because people need to know who you are before they're going to go to your website.
Right.
And so, figuring out which social media platforms you want to be on and just start posting, right? Even before we've really clarified the strategy necessarily, just get on your Instagram story, right? Share a tip that you have. Post, if you want to, I'll use fitness coaching as an example, like just start posting your workouts, whether you're recording your workouts or you're just writing down what you did and posting it as a graphic, or like what you're eating, share a picture of your food, share, there's a lot of things that we overlook because
Yeah.
they're so simple to us and we think, oh, this is obvious, everyone knows this, but your ideal client doesn't know it. They don't
True.
know the proper form for this
True.
exercise, right? So really it's just getting your face out there and starting to build that audience and nurture whatever audience you already have. And then there's, space to really break down a more specific content marketing strategy, as well as building out whatever your first program is. I say program because most of my clients are service based, like coaches, VAs, things like that. So usually it looks like building out, okay, what is your program that you want to offer, breaking down what's included in it, figuring out the pricing, and then figuring out kind of the launch strategy from there. But I think before you are able to effectively launch a program, that, you know, I think you can never have too long of a phase of nurturing your audience and warming them up,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
that's why I'm like, before we even do anything, just start posting. Just get yourself out there because that's what I did. I didn't do it intentionally or strategically, but before I had launched my first fitness program, about 3 months before that, I had just started posting on Instagram and letting people know that I was going to be launching this program and that I'm getting my personal training certification and all of that. And I think that helped me so much when I actually launched it to be able to sign on clients pretty much right away. Because I wasn't launching something to a completely cold audience who had no idea who I was or that I was a fitness coach,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's always the first thing I say is like, you don't have to have every step figured out, just start posting.
Yeah. Well, people buy you before they buy anything from you. You know
Exactly,
what I'm
yeah.
saying? They really have to like you. And that's true for all of us, right? Most of us
Mhm.
will buy, Hellman's mayonnaise because it says Hellman's on it. Meanwhile, the other
Right,
mayonnaise is
yeah.
exactly the same. So, but
Yeah.
but you always buy what you're familiar with and what you like and what you trust. And, so I agree with that strategy. I mean, that's really, really smart. So when you started doing like like especially in this last year, let me phrase it this way, especially in this last year or so, what's kind of like the biggest pain point that you're seeing your clients are going through? What is the biggest thing you see
Mm.
out there that's happening with women? Let's do women.
That's a good question. And another thing I want to say before we move on about how I work with my clients is like a lot of it is mindset.
Yeah, 100%.
So a lot of it
I
is
agree.
working through those fears, working through
Yeah,
the doubts. What if people judge me on the internet? Like, what
yeah,
if my parents see it, or whatever your fears are, your coworkers seeing it, right? A lot of it is overcoming those things, and then oftentimes a lot of the practical steps kind of sort themselves out
true, true.
from there, which is always fun to see. But in terms of the biggest pain point that I've seen my clients having, I mean, I think that fear is always a big one.
Mhm,
Fear of
mhm.
failure, fear of judgment. What are people going to think? What if it doesn't work? What if I don't make any money? And so that's always the biggest one. I would say it's a combination of fear of failure and fear of judgment. And I think it's always just about what matters most to you, right? Like for me, it's not that I didn't have that fear when I quit my job, but my fear of regret was always stronger than my fear of failure. I
Mhm.
I don't care if I try this thing and it doesn't work out, cuz worst case scenario, I still have an accounting degree and I can go back and get another accounting job, right? But to me, the scariest thing is staying in an accounting job and looking back on my life in 40 years and wondering, what if I had just gone after that dream? Like, what if I
So
had
good.
just tried,
Yeah,
right? So I think that's always the biggest thing. And then in terms of like a more practical kind of pain point, I think social media is really overwhelming, and people it's hard to know like what platforms do I even need to be on? And you hear people saying, "Oh, you have to post 3 times a day in order to get clients online." And it can be very time consuming,
yeah,
especially when you're kind of just throwing stuff at the wall and hoping it sticks. So I think narrowing down that content strategy is always a big one that my clients come to me with, because they're like, I don't know where to start. I don't know what platforms to be on. I don't know what to post. Like, should I be on video? Should I be doing live streams? Should I be cold DMing people? Like, where do I even begin? So that's always a big pain point too, is kind of figuring out a social media marketing strategy that is not super overwhelming.
yeah. Marketing strategies are important, right? And not just social
Mhm.
media marketing, but marketing period. Like
Yeah.
your email marketing campaign is also really important. Like all of this stuff
Mm.
is important. But you're right, Lindsay, it does become overwhelming. And so when I see that I have a client that becomes too overwhelmed, I'm like, okay, can we outsource some of this stuff? So it's good that you do a lot of
Yeah.
that because you do the social media part as well. I do
Yeah.
not. I hire someone. But the thing is like, I think uh, everyone, not just women, but everyone has to know that there are other people out there. There's a village that runs this with you,
Mhm.
whether it's another, like me and you, for instance, another podcaster that can bounce ideas off each other, whether it's that you have a VA that I think does a great job and I want to use your VA. Like there's a village, guys. There really is. Women, I think, are getting to the place, especially now, really wanting to help women are collaborating more. They're doing groups more together. They're doing like women empowerment groups and with women business this and business that. And I think that that is super helpful, right? Because there is a village out there. When you have a problem, you don't know which social media platform, why don't you try to see where you spend most of your time?
Yeah.
Like start there. If you're spending a lot of your time on Instagram, maybe Instagram is your jam. Maybe you should try that out,
Mhm.
you know? But I love that you give them that as well because that can be overwhelming, Lindsay, as you
Yeah.
know because you did it, right? It
Yeah.
can be very overwhelming. I mean, I built my whole website myself as well. And I remember spending weeks upon weeks. And now I'm like, why am I doing that when I can hire someone who does, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm
Mhm.
a person of convenience too, so I don't mind paying if it's convenient and it gives me back that extra time I need to be with my clients, right? So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's super helpful. Now, how do you feel as a coach having a coach? Do you have one? Do you believe in having one? How do you do that part of it in your life?
That's a good question. So I don't have a coach right now. I definitely had coaches, multiple coaches throughout the first, I'd say 2 years of
Good.
my business.
Yeah.
And then it kind of reached an interesting point where I felt like I was leaning on coaching almost too much in a way of like, I need to have somebody else telling me what to do and almost not trusting myself that I know enough and that not that you hire a coach because you don't know enough. But I think there's a difference between investing in a coach from a place of alignment and excitement, and I want to create this thing and I want to have support along the way and somebody to help me, someone who's been there to guide me through it.
Mm-hmm.
There's a difference between that and like, I need to hire a coach because I don't believe that I can do this, right? And like, I need them to give me the answers.
Right.
And so I think I reached a point where I realized that that's why I was working with my current coach at that time. And I was like, I need to just trust myself. I know what I'm doing. I was a couple years into my business and I'm like, I'm leaning too much on this coach to tell me what to do. And so that was when I stopped working with a coach. And then interestingly enough, a couple months later was when I decided to start doing social media marketing, or social media management. And that kind of took off. And my business has been really consistent ever since then.
Good.
And so the reason I was working with that coach was because I hadn't yet reached a point of like consistent income in my business. I would have like one good month and then a few slow months, and it was like really stressful for me. But I think there's so much value in having a coach. I can't imagine how I could have built the business that I have in just a couple years without having those coaches
Yeah.
along the way.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the very first thing I did after putting in my 2 weeks was hire a business coach. So in the beginning, especially, there's so much value to it. And I would just say to be aware of why is it that you want to work with a coach?
Mm-hmm.
And is it from a place of alignment or from a place of kind of not having that trust and belief within yourself? Because if you're lacking that, there's not really a coach out there who can give you any strategy that's going to work for you,
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that yes, that is true. And also, if it's just a couple of like mindset things, your coach can probably help you with that. But if
Yeah,
there's no, and there's also, if there's lack of motivation, there's no coach in the world that'll
right.
help you. There's just
Yeah.
none. And I've turned down business for that reason, because if you're really expecting me to
Mhm.
run your entire life and business, that's not going to happen today. you know and I've had people do that, and that's just not, I'm not that, so
Yeah.
but I will work with women, and I'm sure you're the same, who really do want to move forward, who really do
Mhm.
have the what, I don't know where I'm going, but I know I want to go.
Yeah.
Right? That's very different than, I don't know where I'm going, and well, kind of, I don't know, like,
Mhm.
if we're working together 2-3 weeks and you still haven't done the first thing, we got
Yeah.
a problem. Houston,
Yeah.
we got a problem.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm really glad that you are pouring into women the way you are. I really am, Lindsay. I'm glad that you have taken steps to really like always find and do a self check, because that's
Mhm.
really important. Like, to do that self check to leave your corporate job, then to do the self check about the fitness, and then to do the self check to do life coaching. That means you're constantly checking in with, am I
Oh,
happy here?
yeah.
Does this
Mhm.
does this fill me? Is this valuable? And
Yeah.
that's really important, Lindsay. So I think anybody who's going to work with you is going to do extremely well in what they do. So bravo. Great job. Good.
Well, thank
Yeah.
you.
And I will make sure to be on that Quit Your Job, sis. I love that name so
Yes.
much. So, Lindsay, before I let you go, I do want you to give us all, since you're already on social media, we found
Mhm.
that out. Give us all of your social media handles so people can like connect with you, find you, work with you, all that great stuff.
Yeah, so I spend most of my time still on Instagram at Lindsay M. Hanson. Same handle on TikTok, which I'm now on. Has been growing quickly, which has been fun. On Facebook, I have a Facebook group that goes along with my podcast. So it's just, if you search Quit Your Job Sis with Lindsay Hanson on Facebook, I'll pop up.
Awesome.
Obviously, my podcast you can get wherever you listen to podcasts, or quityourjobsis.buzzsprout.com. And then my website, if you want to learn more about my coaching programs and all the other things that I have going on, it's just lindsayhanson.com.
That's awesome. Lindsay, I appreciate you so much. Thank you for coming on to Straight Talk, speaking to my audience. My audience is really great. Like they're always like, oh, I like that guest you had, and then they follow them and they do all that
Yeah.
great stuff. So I love how interactive my audience is, and I want to thank you for spending this time with me. I truly appreciate it. Thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you
well,
so much.
thank you. It was a great conversation and so good connecting with you. And hopefully, I'll be able to connect with some of your listeners. So
Yeah.
definitely come hang out with me on Instagram and TikTok and Facebook and all the things.
Yeah, I will be. You'll see me on there. You'll see
Yeah.
me. Guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us. You know how we do it around here. Make sure that you like, share, subscribe, all that great stuff. I'll make sure to link all of Lindsay's information below so that you can go ahead and follow her, work with her. Maybe she can do some of your social media stuff and also give you some mindset stuff. She got a lot going on. So make sure that you connect with her, guys. All right. Thank you so much for being here. Neena Perez, Straight Talk, no sugar added. Until next time.
This broadcast is brought to you by Wincheck Studios. We are an all-in-one educational platform for podcasters that revolutionizes how hosts leverage content to increase engagement with listeners, downloads, and income. We come together to focus on community, collaboration, and collective impact. For more information on how you can interact directly with our hosts, access exclusive live content with offers you can't get anywhere else from our official partners, join our purpose-driven community by visiting www.winject.com. If you're ready to build a career doing what you love, then we're ready to see you there.